Okay, we talked election, a little bit long, a little bit lengthy the last video. We'll try to make this a little quicker. Just had to catch up to date there. Foreign policy, American foreign policy becomes more and more obvious that not only whatever we have is horrible, but it's even more than horrible. The president went to Cuba. We've been clear. It's okay. It's an island right off the coast of Florida. They should be our friends. And of course, who cares what Fidel Castro said about his stomach ache? Who cares? The people of Cuba will become our friends down the road. We're just too big. We're their friends. They're good people. Why shouldn't we be friends? And hopefully, as the older leaders die off, the people who grow up as friends of the United States start to get involved in the government and things start happening. We agree. I agree there. But our position has always been, what were you sitting at that ball game for, with things happening in Belgium and around the world? If you wanted to go to a game, and then he taught, and then who are you helping? I mean, he met with some dissonance, but then Raul Castro asked for a list of them when he was asked a question, and who knows if he was given that list. He said he was going to release them all, and none of these people have been released. So you really haven't done much yet, Mr. President. As we said, you should have taken it in a Nats game or an Orioles game. No, it's still exhibition season, but you'll have your chance. You don't have to go back down to Cuba to watch any more games. Argentina's happening. You had to go there. Hopefully things are starting to work out. They had a great election. They got a leader who looks like he's really going to clean things up. Argentina has such a great history. We hope that goes well there. And what are you giving in trouble for about dancing? Big deal. I don't know what the media was all over about that. But he belongs home. You got to be working on this foreign policy. I mean, look what's going on. Brazil's falling apart. They've been falling apart. Lula had come in. He was a guy in the middle class, and everybody was worried. Became president and led this big rise from the depths with Brazil, but it was all based on commodities. And we find out there's kickbacks by the state-owned Petrobras, which is their oil company. And then he starts getting in trouble. Nobody thought Lula would ever get in trouble. And it looks like he's got cash, or he had a home built for him, and so he doesn't get indicted. Dilma Rousseff, the president, brings him in, gives him a job. You can't be indicted when you're part of the government. And now the Supreme Court's going crazy, or their Supreme Court, different judges before the Supreme Court. The appointed Supreme Court, which Dilma Rousseff controls, hasn't made a final decision yet. The people are going crazy. The politics are happening. You have the main party split with Dilma's party, and we have an Olympics coming up this summer. That's going to be really interesting. Middle East. Okay, the Russians, I don't know if they really pulled out. They're still bombing, according to the reports. You see that they sent in their special forces, so they helped knock out ISIS in one area. Who knows how many people they lost? I bet you it was more than they're letting on. But it's still crazy there as we step on ISIS, since the president had no real strategy. It's always been our position, as you know, either go in and do it right or don't do it at all. And this little bit moving in is like Vietnam. Exactly like Vietnam, just going to have some, hopefully we're not going to get stuck down there, but it's going to force us into a position where the next president is probably going to be a little bit more proactive, because he or she's going to be stuck with that, unless it's a Bernie Sanders. And then we're going to have real issues as we get more involved. What the president didn't do is have an overall strategy. He should have found a way to maybe encircle ISIS, but it's like we had said this months ago, it's like stepping in a puddle and the water goes everywhere. So now they go out and they start blowing people up. And yeah, they can't overthrow our government. And yeah, America would still be here, but that's no excuse, Mr. President, to say not to really worry, we're okay. People are worried. People are really wondering. Seems like Homeland Security is doing a pretty good job so far, and the American community that practice the Muslim religion are good Americans that are really happening. I mean, talk about Ted Cruz. What does he want? He wants to send in the Gestapo into the Muslim communities. I mean, that's crazy. These are Americans. These are Americans who care about America. We're here because they love America, because they're part of America. I mean, come on, Ted Cruz. Quit worrying about what your wife looks like vis-a-vis Donald Trump's and this yelling and screaming about who's mad and who isn't. What are you talking about? We got no Gestapo here, and it's no time for a Gestapo. These are Americans. We treat them like Americans. That's all part of it. We're Americans. When is everybody going to forget this? We're not ethnics. It's like watching Ancestry.com and somebody goes, oh, now I know. I'm Scottish. I'm not German. I'm part this and I'm part that and I'm part this. I go, no, you're not. You're an American. Why can't we just be Americans, look at each other as Americans, and work together as one instead of splitting and being in separate ethnic groups? Ethnics is great. Remember our belief on all this. We said it so many times. America is the soup. It's the stock. The ethnicity is the spice. It makes the stock taste better, but you still have that stock, and that's what we are. That's our country here. So our foreign policy is horrible. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. You just see ISIS spreading out everywhere. Europe is in shambles because when there's no American leadership, there is a vacuum. There's a vacuum. I'll tell you what's really crazy is now you see Israel kind of working it out with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait. And of course, Jordan's always been friendly with Israel, or friendly as can be. Egypt's working with Israel. And then you have the split with Hezbollah, Hamas, with Lebanon, or Hezbollah running Lebanon, and Syria, and Iran, and parts of Iraq, and that group working there. He's really split up. He's like put down a line. Of course, he put down that red line with Syria, and it meant nothing. But he's put down a line, and it just means that there's going to be a problem. We've been talking about it. It's going to go on and on. Horrible foreign policy. Horrible foreign policy. Hands off does not work. It simply does not work. And what was John Kerry doing down in Colombia talking to the FARC? The FARC outlaw criminals. Outlaw criminals who ran all the drugs and killed people, killed women, took them, kidnapped them, made them hostages. And John Kerry says they should be part of the government and everybody should walk away. That's not really what the Colombian people want. Doesn't seem to work that way, Mr. Kerry. How'd you feel about 50 years ago? We took the mafia and sat them down and said, it's okay. Hang around, guys. We'll let you rock. Keep your money. Do whatever you want. Where are we going? Where are we going? But you know, in the end, it works out because we're still the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. And that's why so many people still want to come here. So it'll work out, but we got to work our way through it. A lot of stuff going on. Peace.